Hi, Big Mama here. With the Tokyo Olympics just around the corner, I thought we would talk about a sports anime. So today, we're going to be talking about volleyball. I know that was not a volleyball, but to be honest, the only other balls I could find in the house were cat balls. I have to tell you, I have a soft spot for amateur athletes. So in the fall, you'll usually find me watching a lot of football, college football, between Thursday and Saturday. But I actually found an anime that expanded my sports viewing habits to volleyball. So this week I am going to introduce you to haiku, not the poem, but an actual volleyball anime. One day, Shoyo Hinta is riding his bike through his hometown and he sees a display window television. He stops to watch what's on the television, and what he sees is the Japanese high school volleyball championships. He sees a player whose nickname is the Tiny Giant. And he's fascinated and he's inspired. And it's because the Tiny Giant is small in stature, but big in talent. And Shoyo is 5'4" tall. He decides in that moment that he wants to play volleyball. But he has a couple of barriers, or I should say several barriers. First of all, his middle school doesn't have a boys volleyball team. None of his friends play volleyball, and he doesn't play volleyball. But what he does is he spends the next 3 years of his middle school career practicing volleyball, mostly by himself, but he does manage to coerce some of his friends into helping him practice. And there's even a point where one of his friends says, "You spend an awful lot of time practicing volleyball for never having played the game." But Shoyo swears that at some point he is going to have a team and he's going to play volleyball. And sure enough, in his final year of middle school, he manages to cobble together enough boys that they're able to enter a volleyball tournament. And the anime does a great job of interspersing his journey from being inspired by the Tiny Giant to his first volleyball tournament. He meets a player that is probably going to have the biggest impact on his volleyball career next to the Tiny Giant. He meets a volleyball player from a rival team whose name is Tobio Kageyama. And Tobio has the nickname of the king of the court because he is really good. Not only is he really good, he's also the setter on his team. And the setter is sometimes the person, or most of the time, the person who controls the path of the ball, who controls the ball. So Tobio outshines everybody on his team, even though they are a really strong team. Shoyo outshines everybody on his team because they are a really bad team. So you have these two boys that meet, one who is a really good spiker, Shoyo, and you have Tobio, who is a really good setter. The problem is, it's a match made in heaven, but they're rivals and they're across the net from each other. Needless to say, of course, it sets it up that Tobio's team is the first team that Shoyo's team plays. And I'm not giving away any spoilers because you can kind of guess where this is going to go. It doesn't go well for Shoyo. But that doesn't stop him. What he decides to do is he's going to enroll in the same high school that the Tiny Giant went to, and that's Karasuno High School. And he graduates from high school, and then it shows him riding his bike 30 minutes up and down the hills from his home to Karasuno High School. You get to the point where he's running through the halls of the high school in his warm-up suit, running towards the gym, and you see him just so excited, and he's thinking to himself, I'm finally going to go up against that guy, Tobio Kageyama. And just as he flies through the door of the gym, he sees his new teammate, and it's Tobio Kageyama. They enrolled in the same high school. Haiku then takes you on the journey of the established Karasuno volleyball players integrating their new members, and it does a great job. And you see everybody has their place, and sometimes you're watching this anime and a character who you think is a side character appears, and you're saying to yourself, who is this guy? And then he does something great and you're like, oh, that's that guy. And next thing you know, he becomes best boy. And it also showcases high school athletes and how hard they work at being who they are, or at being the best that they can be. They're not able to suddenly overpower the powerhouses of high school volleyball, but what they do is they work at getting better, and they build their brand. And it's a joy to watch them grow as a team and grow as young adults. But I will have to say, one of the best parts of Haiku are the actual matches, because before every match, every team that they play, the anime tells you about the team and that they're going to play, and it gives you their backstory. And it's kind of nice to know who these people are, where they came from, why they're so successful, and how much of a challenge it is for Karasuno to play them. Because when the Tiny Giant was on the team, Karasuno was at the top. Since then, they have actually gone to the bottom, and so, you know, they're in a building stage, and the first season is them building. The anime actually has 3 seasons. If you have played volleyball, you know how intense volleyball is. Everything moves really, really fast. And believe it or not, I actually have played volleyball, and I'm actually shorter than Shoyo. And then I stopped playing volleyball. And the reason is because I felt like I looked like a puppy waiting for a treat, because, you know, the net's up here, I'm down here, and I can't see anything because I'm just too short. But anyway, what happens with Haiku is it slows down the action, so you can see everything that's going on. You can see every point, and you can actually hear the inner voices of the players and their thoughts as they're playing this game. And it's kind of nice, because I don't necessarily know if this is actually what actual volleyball players think, but it makes it feel like that. And because you hear those voices and you hear how they feel, you hear how they're supporting each other, you feel like you're watching your own high school volleyball team. And then also too, there's this really nice part in there where you also grow in knowledge from this. I learned a lot about volleyball that I had no idea. I had no idea why there was one person on the volleyball team that had a different color jersey than the rest of the team. That person's called a libero. I highly recommend Haiku, and I recommend it because it's a heartwarming story. It has great characters. The sports action is fun. You'll hold your breath for every point. And even if you're not a sports fan, and even if you don't go on to watch volleyball from here, you will enjoy it because it's funny too. And it's funny, and it's, well, there's a couple heartbreaking things in there, and you might want to grab a tissue when you watch a couple of the episodes, but it's a good story. This has been Big Mama, and I thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you subscribe to the channel, don't forget to hit the notify bell, because then you can be notified of the next video. And again, thank you very much for watching. Big Mama out.